Bill Hunter here again, your friendly local constitutional troop from California. And this video is about the unfortunate subject of civil rights. Eat. Give me a break, people. Once you learn the truth about that, civil rights has been useless from day one. You're going to find out that it emanates from Section 5 of what I can prove is the non existent 14th War Amendment. It has never been there. And you advocates out there with the NAACP and the ACLU, et cetera, that love the civil rights bullshit, 42 USC 1983 at all. Get over it. It wasn't planned to work, only in the rare cases where they have to make it look good. And to be sure, George Floyd might have been one of those cases, but if he would have killed Derek Sylvan, what do you think he's going to get? First degree murder, and he's probably been executed already. And all this bastard gets is second degree murder, a very rare case where they had to make it look good. Other than that, it's totally useless because what they see there, if you're an artificial 14th Amendment citizen, and by the way, what you'll learn is a big concealed factor in that amendment from the people that ratified it was it created just solely foreign state subordinate corporate dead citizenship. Nobody knew that. Corporate citizenship. For that reason alone, the 14th Amendment doesn't exist, and there's a lot more that you'll learn that go with it as well. But you and I are not corporations, and yet somehow every time we walk into their courts, aka administrative tribunals, they conveniently confuse you and me with Chase Bank, IBM, or Microsoft. How the hell does that happen? What's the factual foundation and legal basis? And there isn't one. We're part of the original intent of the framers of the Constitution, that have creator endowed and alienable rights. We own the place, and we need to start acting like we do. That's going to get us there quicker than anything else and learn what's going on. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Learn more about my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. But civil rights, wow, like everything else in the system, black is literally white. It sounds good on the surface, but as a practical matter, you got 8 law enforcement thugs in Akron, Ohio, who can fire 48 shots at Jalen Walker and kill him from the back during the course of a traffic stop, that the court wouldn't have had jurisdiction. And none of these bastards gets indicted for involuntary manslaughter, let alone first-degree murder. And that's a big change that we have to see happening. Because once that starts and you get these bastards out there on death row, they're going to start to get the message not to do that anymore. They're supposed to be a peace officer, not a law enforcement thug. Two completely different things. And by the way, in that case in Akron with Jalen Walker, I'm willing to bet you out of 8 of those thugs, 5 or 6 were ex-military. And with all the mind control crap they do these days, especially in the Marine Corps, you can't tell a difference between Kalamazoo, Washington, and Kabul, Afghanistan. You simply don't know any better. You think it's all military. You've been trained to do that and see it that way. And yet we have exactly the opposite government here, pursuant to the original intent of those racist framers who ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We want it back. And we can go from there and make changes and do it right this time. Because what you'll find out is we have at most 12 amendments. There's that 13th Amendment, by the way, the big deal was that everybody loves that slavery amendment, despite the fact we're all slaves today. But the deal with the southern states was you ratify this amendment and they're back in the government. We did, and they went and elected representatives, and the legislatures appointed senators, and you'll learn that should still be happening if we have a Republican form of government in the states. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. But none of them were allowed their seats in the 39th Congress. And that's the one that passed bullshit laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the Reconstruction Act of 1867, which set the stage for the 14th Amendment, which wasn't ratified by anybody who had any authority to do so. Agents of our agency would have required us in conventions of the people pursuant to Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. And even worse, that 14th Amendment is intimately associated with federal, regional, martial law rule. That's why Trump is making a point with these executive orders, with birthright citizenship, and now with federal elections. And he knows better than this. Bondi knows better, and thank goodness the current justices know better, because this would place the president in control of the entirety of the citizens of, in theory at least, 50 sovereign independent states admitted into this union. That's a complete opposite of everything that went on from 1787 to 1791. And you're going to learn that, and there's nothing historically that supports it. It's not there. That's what's exciting. And you can learn all this. You can teach your children. They can teach their posterity and keep them out of a lot of trouble they won't get into by entering contracts that they'll know don't exist. We'll talk more about that later. But that's how good all of this is, the way it should be, as opposed to the way that we have it now. And we can get it done. We have a window here that hasn't been there for 150 years. And if Trump takes action now and gets some younger justices on that court, that's even better, because when the shit hits the fan here, it is going to be awful. But if the court admits that they've been wrong, and they know they've been complicit here in not doing their job up until very recently, but tell the American people and tell them they're doing the right thing now, and they're going to continue to do that consistent with the original intent of the trainers. They'll survive, the republic will survive, and your children and your posterity will be beneficiaries. How good is that? To learn more, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The quicker we get out into action here and make changes, the quicker things get better for all of us. Thank you.